One question I have quick is you mentioned kangaroos too, where you were at. Do they ever come into like the town or the city? Like, do you see them around, or do you have to go out to find them?
They're not in town, but you have Melbourne. You if you drive like 20 minutes, if you have like a little bit of green, a little bit of fields, like where the farmers, they're everywhere. And depending where you are, where you're playing golf, they come on the golf course because they graze, and it's like they graze on open areas. So most likely, if you take like a morning tea time, 100% you'll see like a gang of kangaroos like hanging on the fairway, which can be quite
Wow.
scary because they can be scary if they have babies. So you have to like play and go around the kangaroos or like scare them off, otherwise they're gonna attack you.
What's up, guys? We're back with another episode of the Wedgies podcast. Today we are joined by Elie. He's the founder of one of the coolest up and coming brands that we've seen recently. It's called Casual Pro. So Elie, let me pass it over to you to give a little intro into your brand and who you are.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. Yeah, so as you said, it's like an upcoming brand. It's very new. The brand focuses on golf and tennis, and as the name suggests, it's a very casual approach to both of those sports and in life in general. And yeah, we just try to have fun. We are a very laid back brand that don't want to take ourselves too seriously. That's how we approach the sports. That's how we approach our activities and hobbies. So yeah, it's very casual, very easy, and it's going pretty good. So we'll just try to keep up the good design and the good stuff.
All right. That's perfect. I have a question for you real quick. How long has Casual Pro been around?
So it's been around since July 2023. So I mean, it was around a bit before, but I really started to like take over and really like market and work on the design and stuff since yeah last July. So it's very less than a year.
And how's it been going so far?
Pretty well actually. Like it was a slow start because of course it's a new brand, and then since December 2023, I got a good spike in the community, in sales, new people coming in, working with a bunch of like very cool people. So it's going pretty well. I mean, that's why I'm. It started as a pet project, just like an experiment, and then it just started to pick up, and then it's my everyday job now. So it's pretty exciting.
That's awesome. So the next question I have is you said it's obviously been going almost a year now. It's been going pretty well. Started as a pet project. It's gone well enough now that you're in it full time, which congrats. That's
Thank you.
fantastic. Great growth there. What I want to know is you had some time, obviously, you had a passion to start something. Why did you start in this industry? Why did you start in the world of golf? What brought
So
you over here?
I started not with golf initially. So the first thing I started with, I mean, Casual Pro as a brand, the first thing, as I said, it was a project. So I'm not from the fashion industry. I'm from the design industry, but more like a product design. And I was always like interested into going into fashion and those kind of like marketing and graphic design. So I was like, what can I do? And I just take a look at myself and what I'd like to do as an individual. And I realized that I love to do many things. I'm passionate with like motorcycle, golf, tennis, art, nature, coffee. Like, and I was like, that's really cool. And so I'm like, I love many things, but I don't master any of them. But I still do them like casually on a weekend or whenever I can. And I think I really like leaned into this idea of like, I don't like to be pressured to do like stuff to the max or like get like consistent improvement. I'm like, if my if my golf swing doesn't really improve, but I can still play golf and have fun, why not just like keep going and just like promote that? So it started as like an everything brand. So and as I went and as I got feedback from people, I realized that the brand was a bit like everything and nothing. So I had to pick something, and I picked sports because it's also like an excuse for me to go and play golf and be outside. So I picked the two sports that I do like the most currently, tennis and golf. And and yeah, I wanted to like share like these aspects of the sports, and also I feel like those two sports have some like connection between the two, so it was easier just to talk as a whole with the two sports without sacrificing one or the other.
Yeah, and I was looking through your product lineup, and one of the phrases on your merchandise says "Master of none, enthusiast in many," and I think you pretty much just explained exactly what that is. But let's dive in a little bit to some of these passions of yours, because when we were talking before the call, uh, you know, the three of us here actually share quite a few of those same passions as well. Obviously, this is a golf podcast first and foremost, but what was your first love? Like, what was your first passion, either growing up or as you got older, that you really were drawn to?
I think my first passion was drawing,
Okay.
uh, drawing and nature, which led me into doing some more and more drawing, then an art school, then a design school, then I became a product designer. So this is my first passion. My second passion, I'll say, is maybe motorcycle. So from dirt bike when I was a kid. So I've always liked road bikes, and I think if you go on my Instagram and my first products, I have a motorcycle T-shirts and some shirts with like a really cool motorcycle. This is the second thing, and I think I was not a big sport guy until like maybe in my mid 20s, but my parents pushed me to do some sports, so I tried everything, like hoping for them to find like my passion in sports, and I think I stuck with tennis, and golf came I mean, in my adult life. But
Hmm.
yeah, I've nature, being outside, drawing, motorcycle, I'll say, and uh, and yeah, maybe traveling lately.
And
Cool.
what is your motorcycle background? Because Tanner and I, we also ride motorcycles. Grew up riding. What's kind of your if you could choose any bike that you could ride for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Yeah, let's nerd out a little bit here on
Wow,
motorcycles,
that's a
'cause why
very
not?
tough. That's a very tough question. I mean, I love dirt bikes as well, and motor and like road bikes. But
Hmm.
maybe as a road bike, I think we in a family we love Harley Davidson.
Okay.
So we rode a lot of them, and I think I'm not like a race. I don't like to race. I like to race, but like I'm not like a hyper sport
Hmm.
motorcycle. So I'll say a Harley, or maybe lately we got into a BMW, the GS,
Oh, nice.
just to travel, and these are
Hmm.
amazing. So yeah, either a Harley just to travel, and also the Harley you can customize them very extensively, so that's pretty cool. But I'll say like every day, one bike for the rest of my life. I'll say a GS, most
Nice.
likely BMW.
Okay. Just comfortable, powerful, kind of an all around,
Too powerful,
more
but
of an
yeah,
enduro bike, right?
yeah. I mean, it's everything really. It's like
Yeah.
depending how you set it. You can just like go around the world alone or with your partner, or it's just like the best bike to do everything.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tanner's a Harley guy too.
that's cool.
He knows. I sent him a picture.
Oh, nice.
No, yeah,
No,
that's
but I so one question I have then real quick, and this will answer a couple questions. First off, um, you mentioned Harley first, which is an American company.
hmm
You are not American.
no.
Where are you from, and where have you been?
So I'm French and Swiss, born in France, and I spent most of my life in France and Switzerland. And but my parents, we've been traveling a lot, and my father was always like a big motorcycle US guy, so we always had Harley at home. But then, so I grew up in France, studied in Switzerland, and then I moved around ever since I'm like 21. So I lived in the US for a year, I lived in New York, then I moved back to Switzerland, and I lived in London because I'm now in London for 4 years. I moved to Australia last year. This is where I started Casual Pro for 1 year, and I just got back to London in March.
Wow.
So yeah, like a lot of traveling. I might go back to Switzerland at some point, but not yet.
So out of all the places you've had the privilege of living or visiting, what's been your favorite place?
I think I have to say Australia.
Oh, wow.
Australia.
Yeah.
What about Australia? What about it?
I mean, I was in Melbourne, so I was not really like living the Australian dream, like surfing, good
Right.
weather every day, which was fine because I lived in London before and I was used to like this kind of like gray and very
Right.
like
Yeah.
changing weather. But I feel like to me, Australia, first of all, it's huge, so you can travel. Like you have everything in one country. People there are just amazing, and just the lifestyle, just like the energy in the air is really different from Europe. The country is what is like healthy. It's there's no to less to no crime. At least I didn't really feel any threat while living in
Really not.
Melbourne, and London is not like this at all, and the US is the same. And I don't know, just like cost of living is just much more affordable than the UK. You speak English, you have the same like pub culture as the UK. The food is amazing. Nature is completely insane. So like when you get used to those kind of things, it's hard to just to leave and go back to like
Yeah.
reality. And the golf in Australia are pretty insane.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
that
say
was,
I
yeah.
had two follow-up questions with that. So the first being, I've always wanted to visit Australia. Our dad
Mm.
went there a couple times on business, and
Yeah.
he loves it out there as well. Um, but are the spiders and the creatures out there as bad as they say?
No. I mean, depending
Really?
where you go. If you go north, where it's hot and humid, for
Yeah.
sure, like brace yourself. But Melbourne is really south. It's really like it's cold, so you have no spiders. I mean, you really have to like look for them.
Hmm.
No spiders, no snakes, and but you have a lot of like wallabies, a lot of parrots, a lot of crazy kangaroos. It's really like the wildlife is crazy, but no scary things. I was a
Wow.
bit sad not to like see
Okay.
anything crazy.
I didn't I didn't know that. I thought the whole country was just infested with huge spiders as big as your head.
This is what they tell you to keep you out of the country. I think
That works.
the scariest thing I encountered was just like they have those like big magpies in Australia,
Hmm.
just like crazy sound, but they're like huge crows, and basically what they do is they're really protective with their nests. So these are the birds that attacks you when you're just walking in the park. So you have to, like this is like the scariest thing I've seen, which is a bird.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
it should be fine, I think.
Nice. Yeah, and then the other question was the golf, obviously. I don't think Australia is necessarily known for having amazing golf courses. But talk to us a little bit about what it's like out there.
So the thing that struck me the most with the golf out there, uh, and I can compare this to the UK. First is the nature. You are like in nature, and in Australia you have this kind of lush and like crazy trees, sounds. The birds are completely insane. So like when you golf out there, you're like in a safari. You have like when your ball is out of bounds, you have like fences that say like don't go there. It's lost, even if the grass is that tall, because you have
Hmm.
like a deadly snake. So you're like, okay, my ball is lost. I'll never go and fetch for it. So you have this kind of like it's really unusual, and I think also the approach to golf in Australia is very much more laid back, as in the US maybe. You don't have you have some like country clubs with
Hmm.
like colors and very like strict rules, but it's very chill. It's very like they embrace the fact that come as you are, uh, drink on the course, just like have fun with your friends, and it's really like a lad country. So you have all the boys, like it's really like it's very like I don't know. I love it, and when I coming back to the UK with like this energy of golfing and everything is much more structured and old school, and like it's really strange. And I'm like, okay, I need to adjust, and just the views you have because it's so big and you have so much space. People have money there, so they're creating like the most spectacular golf on the cliff, in between dunes. It's just like amazing, and we don't talk about enough, I think. But
That's
yeah,
interesting.
I
That's
loved it.
that's cool. I was with Caden too. I always thought I've always wanted to visit Australia, but I always thought that there were just like monster bugs and everything around where you were at. Do they ever come into like the town or the city? Like, do you see them around, or do you have to go out to find them?
So it's really hard like not to see them when the sun is low. And depending where you are when you're playing golf, they come on the golf course because they graze, and it's like they graze on open areas. So most likely, if you take like a morning tea time, 100% you'll see like a gang of kangaroos like hanging on the fairway, which can be quite
Wow.
scary because they can be scary if they have babies. So you have to like play and go around the kangaroos or like scare them up, otherwise they're gonna attack you. So yeah, but that's part of what the beauty of it. I think it's so great, and there are like millions of them.
Well, I'm sold. I mean, if I ever get the opportunity, I would love to go play golf down there.
Yeah,
I'd love to go down there.
you
Um,
should.
what is so we've talked a lot about golf in Australia and stuff like that. What's
Mhm.
the what's the tennis culture like down there as well?
It's big because the in
Yeah.
Melbourne they host the Australian Open,
Right.
so it's the only major tennis event. I mean, one of the Grand Slams is in Melbourne. Then they have other tournaments in other big cities like Adelaide and I think Perth. But it's huge, and the world come to Melbourne, so like you have this kind of crazy energy around tennis, and it's like any I think it's like any event, sports event, when the big event come to your city, suddenly like the whole city plays tennis. All the courts are packed, all the courts are booked up, and it's sunny. It's usually in summer there, so it's just like perfect again. And you're still outside, and you can still have all the birds, and you're in the city, and it's like it's very cool.
That's
Have you?
awesome. I know like one of the first things that struck me about your brand when I first came onto it was obviously the designs and the like types of t-shirts you have, the types of hats you have, the product itself too was hip and cool and well thought out and well designed. But another thing that caught my eye was, I mean, we're in this industry day to day, right? We see a lot of golf brands. We talk to a lot of golf brands. We've worked with a lot of golf brands. Um, One of the things that struck me with yours was also the tennis aspect that you have there as well.
Yeah.
Um, it was cool for me personally because I have a bit of a personal relationship with each sport
Hmm.
that I haven't really been able to talk about on the show, which is cool that with you I can kind of share the story. But I when I was a kid, so our dad, Caden and I were brothers, right? Our dad always big into golf, and so him and I we were lucky enough to start playing the game around probably like 7 or 8 or so. I might have been 8, he might have been 6, somewhere around there. So we've been golfing our whole life, and then we're huge basketball fans. Um, Here in Utah, where we're at least at the time, the only pro team that we had was an NBA team, was the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
So basketball is really big here,
Hmm.
and those were kind of the two sports that we grew up playing. Golf wasn't cool when we started, and
Yeah.
so most people just knew we played basketball, and that was the cooler one. And so we tell people that because they'd understand
Hmm.
that better than the golf at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and I had an interesting relationship with basketball when I was kind of a later teenager and in high school. Um, I had broke I broke my ankle a couple of weeks before basketball tryouts a certain year, and then 3 days after I got out of that cast for my broken ankle,
Hmm.
I broke my foot playing basketball, and so I went back into a cast again, and I wasn't able to play that year. And I was looking for something to fill that basketball time that I was used to year after year. And I was lucky enough to fall in with tennis. I was probably 15 or 16 when I found tennis, so I was a little bit older. Um, I had some friends that played, and when I wasn't able to play basketball, they said, "Hey, come out and try tennis, see how you do." It's similar movements, right? It's pretty lateral and stuff like that. And I mean, I'd hit a tennis ball before, like a handful of times, right? Maybe in like PE in school or something, right? But didn't really have much experience with it. And then as I got into that, I totally fell in love with the sport. Ended up leaving competitive basketball behind because I was having such a good time with my tennis team and my tennis friends, and
Yeah.
going from place to place with those guys. Um, So it became something really, really important to me in my life. And then, when I saw your brand and it was those two things, that I was able to connect with it in a way that I haven't been able to with a lot of other brands.
Hmm.
And so I'm really excited that there's somebody in this space, in both spaces, that's trying to elevate both sports together, but also with like cool stuff and dope looking designs and all that kind of stuff that speaks to me as well. So was really excited that we were able to connect. And then from there, we found that love of motorcycles and stuff too. And I was just like, this guy's got his head on straight, man. Like this guy's doing all the things that I like to do and that I want to do. So
Yeah,
really excited that we could connect. Want to talk more about tennis with you in the future as we go. It's nice to have
sure.
somebody as well that is in that space as well.
Hmm.
Um, but what I want to know is, what does the future of Casual Pro look like? What are some of the goals and the dreams that you have? I mean, you're almost a year into this, right? Sky's the limit. It's been going well. Where do you see it going from here? Where do you want it to go from here?
So obviously, I like to. I think the challenge today is to be consistent in what I'm communicating. I mean, the team is me, so it's pretty easy to get lost or like like get off track. I think the for me the challenge now is just to get to have more awareness with the brand, be out there, um, communicate my ideas maybe more efficiently, like bring this kind of fun forward a bit more. And once I have this kind of like voice and like sharp angle, the casual pro, like what casual pro means, I think for me, so casual pro, as I said, like when I started, is more of a lifestyle. Like casual pro is a person rather than just a brand, and I think that we are all casual pros in our own ways. And for me, the thing in the future, casual pro should not be recognized as a goal for tennis brand, but like as just this kind of um, yeah, like if you do something casually, like oh, that's it can be casual pro baking, it can be casual pro about cycling, about running, and so it could be like a movement, almost like a viral hashtag, or just like and all the design can be like very simple, very like not um, uh, pointing toward any sport, but just like in a general lifestyle.
Mhm.
So for me, it's much more like a holistic brand as just like a very niche product. And for me, Casual Pro is I also want to bring the fun forward because there's a lot of those brands. It's always super serious, like straight poker faces. Not so much love. So there's a few brands that are doing like a good vibe, a good feel brands. I could name a few, but I really want to push this forward, like especially like today with like how the world is going, like the mental health and everything. I think having some fun and having a like a light-headed brand more than just like less than a just like a very serious technical brand. I don't aim to be like a super technical brand. It's meant to be like lifestyle, good design as you pointed, good shape, good cut, good materials. I also want to do something maybe not so impactful because being in that space of designing, I know how product and fashion is wasteful and has a big impact on the planet. So like at my scale, I'd like to also push forward like better practice with design and with fashion, pushing like local manufacturing, a smaller quantity. So I'm also gonna try to lean towards like pre-orders if I can, higher quality. I mean, buy less but buy better, in the end. So that's also what I'm trying to do, and what I'm trying to use Casual Pro to like promote as well, like against fast fashion and against those like things that are killing the planet and ultimately will kill everything we love and golf included.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we gotta reverse the clock on that one. If golf's, on the chopping block, we gotta do something about it for sure. But
mhm.
no, I like the mindset you have with it because again, like I connect with this brand because I feel like I have a lot of hobbies and a lot of passions, but I'm not
Yeah.
necessarily like amazing at any one in particular. And
Mhm.
because of that, it allows me to enjoy multiple, right? And so
Yeah.
uh, casual pro is kind of this common theme or common thread between all the things we like to do. And I mean, I don't really know if there is a brand that promotes like everything you like to do, right?
Yeah,
But
of
is
course.
still in a way, something that you can connect with. But my last question is your logo. That's something that stuck out to me immediately. And I was just curious, is there a story behind that logo? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, so the logo, as I said before, like Casual Pro, it's of course a brand and needs to be like recognized. But for me, it's I wanted a mascot for the brand. I wanted something that so it's also helpful as a marketing perspective as well. But I wanted to create something that can be embodied that can embody the actual lifestyle of it. So I wanted to have something very minimalistic that can last in time. So it came up with this kind of like walking guy, a bit
Mhm.
spiky, a bit quirky, that always move forward. And I can also like animate this guy. He can play golf, he can play tennis, he can run, he can do multiple of stuff. So I want to use this guy in the future to like put him into situations, put him on the designs, and yeah, it's just like I think the identity is a bit like old school, like a bit like 80s or 70s, like very minimalistic logo. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, it was just like about this idea of always moving forward, always like keep going, regardless of the direction. If you go somewhere, you will end up somewhere.
Nice. No, I
Yeah,
love it.
and
I like it. I like it too.
I saw, yeah.
Yes, mate.
And just to build up, I think on the previous question about where I see Casual Pro, I think I see the future as well of brands like Casual Pro and other brands as also like a collaboration towards for promoting something better. Like if you want to promote golf, I think there's nothing like collaborating with you guys, with other brands, with like golfers, just to like share ideas, share point of views, and just like it's being part of this and not like do the thing on my own and like be ultra competitive with all the brands. For me, like we all have a space and we all have something to say, and my voice is different from many other brands because it's me and I'm trying to be me. So I think yeah, I see myself like collaborating even with artists, with like people that are not from the sphere of golf but can bring something into the table just to also make the game evolving, I think. So yeah, that's the dream as well.
That's great. I love that. I mean, yeah, a little, and to speak kind of to what Caden said too, I very much feel the same way where there's a lot of hobbies that I have. I think I'm good at some of them, but not a pro at a lot of them. But a pro in my own way, you know what I mean? Like doing what I can do and bettering the things that I can better and going at my own pace and trying, right?
Mhm.
But enjoying it too along the way. Um, I want to say also thank you. We're going to have Casual Pro is part of our tournament, the Long Day Challenge this year. We're
Yes.
excited to have you involved and have you guys involved. We have some fun things coming from the brand for our players, so I'll tease that real quick and just let them know that that's on the way. Really excited to share the brand and what you've got going on with our guys and
Yeah.
ladies, and so super excited to have you guys with us this summer. Um, at some point down the road would be a blast to have you out here and compete in it and see what we've got going on. And then I can speak for Caden too. I already know we would love to at some point maybe come and see what you've got going on in the various places you're at. So um, it's still really cool to
Pleasure.
me that golf continues to be a connector for us. And I mean, like we've got some other similar hobbies and stuff, but have lived very different lives and have very different upbringings and have lived in very different places. But even with all of that and those different life experiences, there's things that bring us together, and golf being the thing that brought us here today. And so I continually am impressed with what golf's able to do on that front. And it doesn't matter if you're like a 50 handicap or a one, we can all connect on it and we can all play it together.
Yes, that's
um,
the beauty of the sport as well. I think it's the
yeah.
only sport where you can just play with any age, any handicap, and anywhere. Really, it's really
Yeah,
that's the beauty of the
and
sport.
be competitive and have
Mhm.
fun and not feel like you're getting left in the dirt. And
Yeah.
so it continues to impress me that way. The last thing that I want to ask you is please tell people where they can find Casual Pro, where they can interact with you.
So the easiest way to interact with us is on Instagram. It's our main channel of sharing new stuff up coming up. new products, and we're gonna have a TikTok channel soon, but like it's not there yet. We need much more content to open a TikTok, and the website at casualproclub.com. So this is where you can find everything, and yeah, pretty easy.
Sweet.
Well, fantastic. Thanks again. I hope to catch up maybe in a future episode down the road, see where you're at. It's crazy how far you've come in less than a year. I think sky's the limit for what you've got going on, and we'll be excited to check in probably a little bit later too if you're up for it. So